Hello. Today what we're going to do in this tutorial is look at mapping data from a CSV file to a mySQL database. We could do other databases, but mySQL is kind of the default for Talon. But we'll see the list of databases that you have is pretty varied. We'll also introduce another component called a tMap component. So let's go over here to our CSV jobs, create a standard job. We're just going to say CSV file to database data. Okay, so here, well, you noticed a couple of things here. We did not add a purpose and a description, and I did that purposely to show you how you can go back and do it, edit the properties of a job. You can right click and edit properties. But notice what it says, the properties are read-only because the item is locked by the editor. Let's just close it. Let's close the job. Now we can edit it and give it a purpose. Load data from CSV file. Description. Utilize tMap and mySQL components. Okay, so now if you go back in and you look at the edit properties, you have that all done. Open the job and we're back. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our file. Input delimited. We'll create that file. We already know the row separator, we know the field separator. We're just going to add a 1 here. And you know that whenever we have a file, we have to have a schema. So let's import that schema from our XML schema that we created earlier. Okay. And now we're going to create this tMap component, or utilize a tMap component, and it tells you it allows joins, column or row filtering, transformations, and multiple outputs. We'll just double click on it. Okay. We'll go ahead and create a connection to that. Doesn't hurt. We can do it now. And then after we do that, we're going to go to the right hand side. We could type it, obviously, but we're going to go over here to the right hand side and we're going to look at databases. You see you have two types, specifics and common. We're going to look at specifics. When you click on specifics, it's going to tell you all, or give you a list of all the different databases that you can interact with Talon. And we're looking at mySQL. So here we're going to need a couple of things. We're going to need a close to close the connection. We're going to need a connection to create a connection. We're going to need an output, and we're going to need a commit so that we can commit our changes. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a connection here. We'll just call it load data. Okay, and we'll go ahead and configure it. And our DB connection, we're going to go ahead and open up our DB connection. And we're going to go localhost. The port is 3306 is the default for mySQL. Talon test is the name of my database. I'm going to put in my username. And I'm going to slip over here and put in my password. Okay. What you can see is I've already created the table, but the table doesn't have any data in it. See? No data in it. This is the database. This is the table name, person's data. Okay. Let's bring back over Talon. Okay. So we've put in all our connection information. Let's go to view. We'll just give it a name. MySQL connection. Okay. And over here, we're going to have our database. And since we've already created a connection, we're going to use an existing connection, which is the connection that we have right here. We click on use an existing connection, select that component since it's on the workspace here, and it's my connection. And what we want to do is we're going to tell it the table, which is person's data. And the default is just simply to insert. If you click on here, you have a variety of options. Drop and create table if it doesn't exist, drop table if it exists, clear table, truncate table. On the right hand side, we can insert, insert, or update, or insert, delete, replace, etc. Well, so we open up the tMap by double clicking on it. Okay. And I'm gonna just highlight and move over my connections. Notice the mapping here. Row ID to row 1 ID, first name to first name, last name to last name, and so on and so forth. We're gonna click apply. It's gonna, would you like to propagate those changes? Yes, I would like to propagate those changes. Okay. And you can see that my input maps to my output. Okay. The other thing I'm going to do, you notice when we clicked on tMap, let's go back to tMap here. It says allows multiple outputs. Let me add another output here. I'm going to do write to the console as well. How about that? We go here. We create a new output. To console. That's what we're going to call it. And you see here, we need some inputs into this T row. So let's go ahead and create the inputs into the T row. You see the name of the output that we have? We're just going to copy and apply. Now we have our sub job here. This is what we want. Okay. And I want to say that after the job is complete, I want to commit. I'm sorry. Commit. I want to commit the component, the connection, all right? And then I want to close the connection. Okay. So what I have here, or what we have here, is a sub job. Let's give it a name. Load data from CSV file to mySQL DB. Okay. Let's check and make sure everything is correct. We have our connection. From our connection, we have the name of the table that we want to add data to. We're going to take the default, insert. Okay. We're going to commit the data because we have to commit. If you don't commit, you won't see the data inside of the database after your output. And then we don't want to leave the connection open, so we close the connection. Then the only thing we're going to do then is just hit run job. And as you can see, the job is complete. We have our first output here, or the second output is to the console. If we click inside the database now and we run this script, voila, we have our data. Okay. What we can do here is I want to show you something different here using this tMap. I can go to the output. The output is always on the right hand side. The input is always on the left hand side. Go into first name, and we have to remember that Talon is written in Java. So I can use some Java functions if I want. Put all the first names to uppercase. Or I can use some string handling functions. created by Talon. Here I can make them all lowercase. Do the same for the output on the console. I'll do the reverse on the output on the console. How about that? To lowercase. And over here to name, I use the string handling function. Where are we at? And that's UK upcase. Just gonna copy. Okay. Apply. Clear. Run. And notice inside the console, everything is in lowercase in the first name, uppercase in the last name. If we click inside the database and run it, we have the first name, everything is in uppercase. The last name, everything is in lowercase. So we've learned a few things in this tutorial, I hope. Learn how to make a connection. Learn how to map the data using a tMap component and do some small transformations like turning uppercase to lowercase, lowercase to uppercase. And we've seen how to have multiple outputs, how to commit the data, and then how to close the database connection. Thank you.